And from the pages of MikeHuckabee.com, where you can sign up to have my insights, wit, and wisdom delivered right to your email inbox twice daily, and it's totally free, by the way, let's take another look back at the week that was. Well, the so-called elites in media, government, and liberal academia seem to believe that by vanquishing still President Donald Trump, they will reign triumphant once again, cement themselves into power over us forever. And somehow they'll never again have to hear from the 72 million voters who wanted the second Trump term. But here's a news flash that you'll never see on CNN, even if Trump loses the election in the end. When all's said and done and all the legal challenges are settled, guess what? Trump isn't going away, and neither are his supporters. And if maybe some of the snobbish Beltway journalists actually meet some of the flyover people they constantly talk down to, maybe they'll learn a few things about them. Like they're not really racist, they love their country and what it stands for. They want to keep the money they earn instead of giving it to politicians in taxes so that they can redistribute to the politicians' pet projects as well as to the people who just won't work. And they hate bullies who try to tell them what they're allowed to say and think. And they don't want to be lectured about ridiculous things that defy common sense, like that a man can become a woman or that illegal immigration isn't a problem. I would add that they'd also learned that working class people are not stupid, are low information voters. In fact, they are in many ways a whole lot smarter and far more accomplished than most of the desk jockeys with useless college degrees who mock them. But they might also learn the most devastating realization of all, that many Americans view the elite journalistic class as a bunch of overprivileged narcissists and whiny, entitled, half-educated mediocrities. Well, speaking of New York's Governor Andrew Cuomo, ahead of the Thanksgiving holiday, he handed down the order that no more than 10 people can gather in a private residence. Thankfully, some New York sheriffs aren't having it, and they say they're not going to enforce such ridiculous restrictions. First, they say it's unconstitutional and wouldn't stand up in court anyway. One said he doesn't see how it's in the public good to devote police resources to counting cars in people's driveways and then investigating just how much turkey and dressing they bought. Personally, if I were ordered to be on the lookout for big turkeys, I'd head straight to the New York governor's mansion. Now, moving on to the Twitterverse, where you can follow me at GovMikeHuckabee. This week, Cuomo's not the only one exerting power over us. Democrat governors and mayors just can't wait to shut things down again, can they? I say, if you want to stop pompous public officials from forcing you to do what they won't do, simple solution. If an elected official shuts down your job, they don't get paid by you, the taxpayer, until you go back to work. For some odd reason, this superbly responsible and reasonable suggestion invited a flurry of angry responses from the dark reaches of Twitter. Oh well. Later in the week, President Trump's legal team held a presser on vote fraud. More on that in a minute. I tweeted, only thing more despicable than massive vote fraud is that the media ignores sworn evidence that Rudy Giuliani presents and instead focuses on who's wearing a mask. The press has become a massive fraud. Do none of the media even have curiosity as to the veracity of the affidavits? Well, of course they don't, because they would never do anything to legitimize President Trump's claims of irregularities or improprieties, and yes, outright fraud as it relates to the election. So-called reporters, instead of investigating and reporting, have decided it's just easier to play mask police. Now, we used to call them hall monitors in school. You know, that kids used to go to learn that place they once learned. Now they don't go at all. They get a Zoom call. Well, now it's time for some well-earned shamings. Let's take a trip to San Francisco, where there aren't many treats to be had these days, but you will find plenty of garbage. Face masks and PPE are the newest items to flood San Francisco Bay, as the entire Bay Area seems to now overflow with everything from household waste, medical waste, human waste, and maybe a few discarded gourmet ice cream cartons in a certain cul-de-sac by you-know-who. I guess there are some treats there after all, that in the house with Pelosi written on the mailbox. Next up, because every holiday that normal Americans love is under attack, the ACLU is at it yet again, trying to remove a nativity scene in front of an Indiana courthouse. It's been displayed there since 1980. Now, religious freedom litigation firm Liberty Counsel filed a brief opposing the ACLU's injunction. Liberty Counsel's chairman said in a statement, quote, "Nativity scenes on public property are constitutional. The Christmas display in Fulton County, Indiana is no exception. Every year, the ACLU unsuccessfully attempts to prove that it is wrong on the law." Finally, here's some shout-outs. As I mentioned, President Trump's legal team is hard at work trying to prove widespread allegations of voter fraud in the 2020 election. Sidney Powell, a former federal prosecutor advising the president's legal team, gave a fiery speech, and here's just a little piece of it.
We are not going to be intimidated. We are not going to back down. We are going to clean this mess up now. President Trump won by a landslide. We are going to prove it, and we are going to reclaim the United States of America for the people who vote for freedom.
I think that's what they call a mic drop moment. Lastly, there was some unexpected praise for President Trump from a former Obama appointee. Yeah, you heard that right. Health and Human Services Chief Kathleen Sebelius credited the current administration's Operation Warp Speed for progress on COVID vaccines. Two companies, Moderna and Pfizer, have announced vaccines that are roughly 95% effective against the virus. Sebelius said, and I quote, "There's no question that Operation Warp Speed has been a great success getting to the point in a very rapid period of time of manufacturing a vaccine," end quote. Now, I'm not sure what's more surprising, that a former Obama official had some words of praise for the Trump administration, or that those comments actually aired on CNN. As always, I'll leave you with a thought to chew on. This one from Arnold H. Glasso, who said, "The key to everything is patience. You get the chicken by hatching the egg, not smashing it." And until next time, these have been the facts of the matter. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, then subscribe, and hit the notification bell below. Now, if you didn't like it, you ought to find a Ben Shapiro video to detox you with more facts.